Hi everyone, it's Pat O'Connor and it's time for your Tuesday Katharine Konnection. The last connection I sent out, I gave you a little tour of the office, and today I'd like to talk about what it's like to be working remotely during this time of the lockdown. But the first thing I want to say is how really grateful I am to all the folks that sent notes of thank you and appreciation for securing of the SBA loan. This was a joint effort. It certainly was something that involved a lot of paperwork and pulling together information from my standpoint, but without the help of our bank, which is Woodsboro Bank, it would have been a much more difficult task and potentially not have the same great results. So thank you very much to Woodsboro for all their help. One of the challenges of working from home could be that while you're trying to record a video, the man is outside mowing the lawn. So we'll just wait until he finishes up and then I'll continue. Okay, so it appears that the lawn work is done. So when I'm working remotely, a lot of the times I'm working on the numbers and trying to make sure that everything comes out correctly, and sometimes it can be a little bit frustrating. So then I try to find something just to break up the day a little bit. Like lots of folks, I have discovered the joys of baking. I decided to try baking bread. And sourdough sounded like it would be a real challenge. Then I read the instructions and discovered that you have to make this goop for 5 days before you can even start to make the sourdough bread. But I did it. It came out beautifully, and I'm never doing it again. So I moved on to chocolate chip cookies, which is a pretty standard in our house. And I discovered that there's a lot of things you can do with chocolate chip cookies. You know, there's your basic pile of cookies, and then you can put them in different configurations. And then you can make them into a pile. But if you don't have enough cookies, you have to make more cookies to get an even bigger pile, so you can start to play Jenga with your chocolate chip cookies. And then you can put them into lovely little configurations like this smiley face. So obviously I'm spending way too much time indoors. The next thing on my list was, what can I do outdoors that feels like it will be productive to enjoy the nice weather? So as soon as it turned 60 degrees, I went outside with my new friend, my power washer, and decided to get rid of the mildew that had built up on the side of my house. Now, this is a good 7 years of buildup, and it was definitely time to tackle it. So, and it started looking really good. I was very, very happy, but I noticed that there were some spots that were a little bit higher up on the house I couldn't quite reach. So I pulled out my stepladder and went up, and boy, it was just going great. And then I moved the ladder onto a spot that was a little bit unbalanced. Now, I want to digress for a second and tell you about something else I've been doing during the time of the lockdown, which is participating in Bible study, the book of James specifically that we are studying. We started it before the quarantine situation and have continued via Zoom. Reading that we went to was about patience. And it said, "Be patient, therefore, beloved, until the coming of the Lord. The farmer waits for the precious crop from the earth, being patient with it until it receives the early and the late rains. You also must be patient." So while I'm out there with my power washer and the ladder, I wanted to really get this done as quickly as possible. So I thought, it's a little uneven. It's not a big deal. So here is what happened next. This is a dramatization of the next occurrence. Now, as you can see, there's a little sign on that step that says danger, but because the sign was kind of curled up, I couldn't really read it until I looked at it later and I saw what it said. Oops. Now, fortunately, when I fell, although I did hit my head on a rock, the only rock in that whole section of yard, and fell on my wrist and sprained it pretty badly. I seemed to be okay. So I put ice on everything, and then over the next few days counted the number of bruises I had. But the lesson for me, especially that night as I listened to the words of James, was that I need to be patient. I don't believe that this incident happened so God could teach me a lesson, but I think it's imperative that I try to learn a lesson from it. So I am now going to be calm and patient. But in the meantime, I want to tell everyone again how much we all on the staff appreciate all your notes of support. I definitely appreciate all of the financial support that has come through for St. Catherine Drexel. It's been amazing. I look forward to the day when we can worship together again. Please stay safe and healthy.